Good day, happy travelers, vacation travel hacks here, asking the very important question: Disney World and a cruise. Can you do both? Should you do both? And let's just kick this presentation off strong. And yes, you can do both. And I've done both. And will do both at the end of this year. Got a cruise out of San Juan, going to fly back to Orlando and then head on up to Georgia. So can you? Yes. Should you? Now that is a very difficult question to answer. You got to understand the logistics, and we'll talk about that here in the presentation. It makes sense. You're already there. Disney World's right there. The cruise ports, yeah, there's two options. Or they're all there right in front of you. So let's take a look at what it looks like. If you're here, you might be asking yourself that question, and if you're here and you haven't asked yourself that question, hopefully you're asking it now. So yes, there's two cruise ports to consider. A couple years ago, we flew to Tampa, rented a car, went up to Disney World, but we've also driven down to Orlando, took a cruise out of Port Canaveral, and went back to Disney World, and then on the way home. While I won't talk about it in this presentation, there's two other cruise ports that, well, technically three. You got Port Everglades down here in Miami, and you got the Port of Miami, as well as Port of Jacksonville. It's I don't know, 2-3 hours from either of these locations to Disney World. So you probably want to rent a car or get private transportation. I do know that Fort Lauderdale does use SAS. There's the driver that took us from Fort Lauderdale Airport to the cruise port of Miami did say, hey, we do take people to Disney World. So that is an option. But the purpose of this one, we'll talk about the two most the easiest to navigate. We'll talk about Tampa first because it's your options are pretty easy. You fly to TPA. You need to fly in a day early. This is why it makes sense to go to Disney World. Maybe a day or two or a week, really up to you. But you get there early. It makes sense because before you book a cruise ship, you kind of want to be in and around the area a day early just because of airplane complications that could happen, whether it's due to weather, mechanical issues, scheduling issues, etc. And flying early allows you to kind of pick and choose how many days early you want to show up based on the cost savings of flying anyway. Then you can rent a car from Tampa. I suppose you could take a taxi, an Uber, or Lyft. Rental cars out of Tampa were cheaper than the flying into Orlando by the tunes of about $150. And then you take the car back to the airport, easy transfer to the port of Tampa from TPA. And then you get off the boat and easy transfer back to the airport. And then you could do Disney World after the cruise. It's just with the flexibility and the cushion, you'd much rather be late to Disney World flying in earlier than late to the cruise flying in on that day. So that's why we recommend that flexibility. Then again, the airport's right here. You just drive, Uber, Lyft, whatever. It's an hour on paper with minimal traffic. So if you fly in late, like a 10 p.m. flight, it's an hour. If it's that would be about the time that's hour. Otherwise, expect anywhere between an hour and 2 hours. A lot of traffic on I-4. And then here you can pick your optimal flights using the Google Flights flight matrix. And then to get back to the cruise port, or to the cruise terminal. Most cruise lines offer their own transportation. It's $24. This is what Carnival offers. So there you go. Some examples of cruise lines that leave out of Port of Tampa. This is looking at next summer vacation for 2024. Now's a great time to be looking for cruises in 2024. And frankly, have your eye on 2025 if you feel like looking out that far. $5.99 double occupancy for a room, and you can go to one of my favorite ports in all the Caribbean, Roatan. That's a fantastic. Now, the one of the busiest cruise ports in the world, Port Canaveral. Everybody, it's a busy one. So again, why it makes sense? You're flying down at least a day early anyway. You can fly down a couple days early, go in, fly to MCO, pick your optimal flights. And then this is easier than Tampa because it's an easy transfer from Disney World and MCO, and easy transfer. That's the airport code for Orlando. And then there's easy transfer from Port Canaveral back to the airport. So can you do it after cruise? Sure. So again, here's the airport's right around here. You can go and drive to Disney World, have a little bit of fun. And hey, you know what? Another reason doing Disney World before a cruise is way more relaxing and low key than Disney World. So why not run yourself into the ground at Disney World? Have fun. Don't run yourself into the ground derogatory. Just run yourself into the ground having fun. Then head over to the cruise, and then it's very leisurely. So that's nice as well. So anyway, if you rent a car, take Mears transfer, whatever you're doing, go to Disney World, come back, and then take your transfer. It's about an hour to go from the airport to the cruise port. It's about 30, well, with traffic, it's also about an hour, even though the distance is much shorter. Again, you can pay as little as $198, depending upon when you want to go for airfare, or $328. That's $130, swing. A little bit of planning, you can save about $500 for a family of four. So Disney World partners with Mears Connect, and here's some of the prices for the summer of 2023. And so if you do round trip, you can save a little bit of money for the family there. So you go pick up your bags from the airport, hop on the bus, they take you to Disney World, and then they pick you up from Disney World at your Disney World hotel, and then they take you back to the airport, and then of course you can hop on the bus to the cruise port. There's other ways if you don't want to do that. It's a little bit more expensive, but you can get a private transfer from Disney World to the cruise port. Maybe work with Mears. That website had other options. If you go to all services, they have taxis and vans. So I'm sure they'd be happy to take you from Disney World to the cruise port also. Actually, I know they offer the service because Disney World uses Mears to take you from Disney World to the Disney cruise line, which we won't talk about because the Disney 5 days at Disney cruise is like $4,000, whereas 7 days, 8 days, 10 days on any other cruise line, I can get $2,000 to $3,000. So, but you can't beat a Disney cruise or a cruise. You just can't beat a cruise. I hear some of the cruises that are leaving out Port Canaveral. I always sort low to high. So if you're like, hey, wait a minute, I don't see Disney Magic or Disney Dream on here. What's going on? These are the cheapest ones that I have seen. The private island for MSC is really good. We have them booked next year, and we are on the Adventures of the Seas. You want to go down and do an ABC cruise, Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire? Well, that's right there. And this one is like $850. It got cropped off, but as you can see, everybody leaves out of Port Canaveral, so you have lots of options, and the prices are very competitive. Then this kind of shows you what the price is for 7 days at Disney World, and there's some options there as well. So long story short, there's a lot of options, and can you do it? Yeah. It's just you got to ask yourself this question: how much fun can your family handle? And I think if you go in and do Disney World first and have a lot of fun, that way, normally when you leave out Port Canaveral, there's at least a day or two called fun days at sea or days at sea, depending upon your cruise carrier. And you're just kind of kicking back, relaxing, and it's guilt free, and you're maximizing it. So I hope that helps you answer the question. The logistics here, we'll put some of the links in the description, and I hope that helps you make your decision on should you do Disney World before a cruise. Yes, you should. All right, travel safe, and I'll see you in the next video.